Good afternoon. This is Judge Alyssa Perez resuming the criminal docket for the 200 and hey, where's my video?
Judge, we're waiting for the defendant as well.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And if I have 1 minute, Ms. King, your victim impact statement, I don't see your, unless she's with the victim advocate.
Let me make sure. I was told that she was going to zoom in on her own. I'm asking.
Well, in any event, we're still starting our docket since we're on YouTube. Resuming our criminal docket for the 210th District Court for March 22nd, 2022. Again, all matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we're treating all matters live via YouTube. So, this is Mr. Calderon.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, and I guess we're waiting on our victim. Is that right?
Yes, Judge, that's correct.
Okay, well, if she or he is not here, I don't have a problem moving on to the next one.
Yes, Judge, we can take care of Carrillo, page 5.
Okay, let's do
And
that.
actually, we could switch out Mr. Calderon for Mr. Carrillo, please.
Your Honor, the victim is logging in right now.
Okay, we'll handle Mr. Carrillo and then take care of that one. Mr. Carrillo, is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead, Chuy, or Mr. Marufo, whoever.
That's number 2021-0D0-1748, the state versus Cristobal Carrillo. Announcement for the council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Brock Benjamin on behalf of Mr. Cristobal Carrillo, Your Honor.
And Mr. Carrillo is appearing from the jail annex. We were scheduled today. Serves, I think we were here on a possibly a final hearing plea deadline, might have been just a final judge's conference. In any event, Mr. Benjamin informed the court, Mr. Carrillo, that he was intending to withdraw from your case, and he has since now filed a motion to withdraw, which is now set for today. We may be set for something else, but I know primarily that's why we're here. No, just the motion to withdraw. And so, Mr. Benjamin, your motion to withdraw?
Your Honor, we filed a motion to withdraw in this matter based upon contractual issues, and a copy should have been sent to Mr. Carrillo at the annex, which I assume he would have received by now.
Okay, Mr. Carrillo, did you get a copy of Mr. Benjamin's motion to withdraw?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so I guess my question is going to be, if we've had, I mean, did you start making arrangements? Have you made any arrangements to either hire another attorney, or are you needing to be screened to be appointed an attorney?
No, my wife is actually looking to get another attorney. She's looking
Okay. Okay. So what I will do is I don't want to draw this out too much because I know we have some settings further down the road, but we were already looking at a potential trial date. Now I say there was one that was set, Mr. Carrillo, but as I'm sure you may know, with all the COVID scheduling complications, even though you're in custody, it still would have been unlikely that the court would have had a panel for a trial, okay? So you do have backup dates leading up to a jury trial in November, okay? We have interim dates. I'm not saying we're gonna wait that long. We have the dates in the interim, but I'm not gonna wait very long to find out whether you hire another attorney or not, because you need an attorney, right? And I need to find out quickly whether you're gonna be able to have the resources to hire one, or if I need to get you screened to see if you get a court-appointed attorney. So I'm bringing you back in 1 week. Benjamin's motion to withdraw is granted. So Mr. Benjamin, you're off this case, but I don't know, is Myrna logged on? I don't see Myrna logged on. In any event, Mr.
I'm here.
Carrillo, you are? Okay. Oh, there you are. Sorry, I didn't see you. Mr. Carrillo, I'm gonna bring you back in 1 week, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
1 week at 3 p.m. If you're having trouble hiring an attorney and if that's due to financial concerns, we're gonna get you screened. You obviously, if you wanna go hire another attorney, feel free to do that. They can even enter the appearance before the next setting and we'll give them the list of settings that we have now, okay?
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Benjamin. Do you have anything else today?
I was just going to say hi to the world's best bailiff, Your Honor, since I heard the voice in the background, but I
have two bests here today. I'll say that.
I won't out one, but one is a personal favorite, Your Honor.
Thanks, Brock. I appreciate that.
I
Excuse, Judge.
I guess you're not invited to the party, Brock. That's what I think we just told you. So anyways, thank you, Brock. All right,
Thank
if you
you.
don't have anything else, you're excused.
That's it, Your Honor. I appreciate the court letting me harass the bailiffs.
Anytime. All right, who's next, Mr. Marufo?
Mr. Lopez from the downtown jail.
Okay.
You on mute? Mr. Lopez?
There it is, sir.
Mr. Lopez on page 6, Judge.
Got it.
In cause number 2016-0D0-2336, the state versus Raymond Lopez. Announcement from council, please.
Carla King for the state of Texas.
Honorago for Mr. Lopez, we're ready on.
Mr. Lopez as well is appearing from the downtown jail. We are scheduled for a probation status hearing. Oh, let me see. Carla, I think I have, Mr. Lopez was basically an absconder, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So what do we have?
Led
You know what I have,
in
but
2016, Your Honor. He
Mhm.
reported one time, then June, and then he failed to report July 2016 through present time.
Okay. Do we know what happened, Mr. Udaga?
Yes, Your Honor. He basically moved out of town, and he didn't report. I had a conversation with my client. I've been talking to the prosecution with the state since last week on his case. I got new information today, and so I'm gonna go talk to my client, and I think we can resolve this with a plea of truth, Your Honor.
Okay, what are we looking at? I'm assuming you've gotten some kind of rec or offer from the state, so I want to know what it is.
At this time, the last recommendation that I have from the state, it's 4 to do. He pled to 5 years back in 2017 or 17.
So he got 5 and we're going to give him less.
So far, that's where we negotiating, Your Honor.
And this is a DWI true
It's a
third or
DWI
no?
third or more.
No, Your Honor, it's this, including this one, it will be number 7. However, I don't have all the disposition in the other DWIs because they were from out of state and it's taking some time to have those come in.
What number did you say this was?
Number 7.
Yeah, I don't know how we go on number 7 when he got 5 last time. Yeah, I'm just going to throw that out there. We can come back. Do we have a future setting? How old is he?
Let's see.
1988. Wow. All right. Do we have?
I don't think
future
we have any other settings, Judge. Let me check.
Yeah, we'll come back in 30 days.
Okay.
30 days, reset the probation status here. Okay.
Will do, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mhm.
May I be
Next.
excused, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Who's next, Mr. Marufo?
Mr. Calderon on page 4, annex. Can you get us Mr. Carlos Calderon? Thank you, downtown jail.
Okay, have a good day, sir.
Thank you. And this is a plea, ¿verdad? Mr. Stevens, this is your client? Great. Okay. Let us just get the interpreter function going.
Judge, I believe he speaks English. It would be just for the after record, I guess, for the victim impact statement.
Okay.
So if you didn't want to
So-
mess with that, then
Well, but
can
she's
wait.
entitled to hear the plea if she doesn't understand English.
Okay, is she here? Because I didn't.
I don't know. Is that who it is? Ms.
I don't
King?
know.
Is it Ms. Kendrick?
Yes, it is.
Where? Oh, I couldn't see the name.
If we could have that set up, Mr. Cifuentes.
Ay, ay, ay. Ok. Señora Kendrick, ¿sí me puede escuchar? Ok, mire, veo que usted va conduciendo, no lo vamos a poder hacer si usted va conduciendo. Necesita estacionarse y abrir su micrófono para ya poderle escuchar.
No, clear. Go back. Clear. Yeah, go back.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's driving.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I thought she was responding to me, but I guess she's talking to someone else.
Ms. Kendrick? Ms. Kendrick, can you hear me? You're on mute because we cannot hear you. I apologize, Your Honor.
Yeah, this is gonna be, yeah.
Ms. Kendrick,
Yeah, she's muted.
¿Me escucha?
Sí, señora.
Ok, no me estoy esperando la luz para estacionarme, porque vine al banco de comida y como cierran, no podía esperar. Nada más voy a cruzar la calle y estacionarme.
Mr. Rodriguez, can you assist? Because I do not speak Spanish.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I heard you. I'm on the English.
Ms. Kendrick.
I can hear you. I'm on the English.
Hold on, Erica. I think they're gonna speak with Miss Kendrick.
I guess.
Voy a cruzar la calle y me voy a estacionar.
I don't know.
And then Mr. Cifuentes, she'll probably need instructions on how to
How to do
select
it from
the-
her phone.
Ok.
end
Muy bien.
right there.
Okay. Okay, hold on.
And then right there, where it says off. There. Okay, I got it.
Mr. Cifuentes, are you able to? Mr. Cifuentes, are you able to instruct her? I don't know what he's indicating. I can hear
Yes,
you.
I hear you.
Did a channel, she cannot hear the interpreter.
Well,
Okay, now let's see. Now that we ended it. Señora Kendrick, ¿ahora sí me puede escuchar?
Sí.
Muy bien. Oiga, mire, lo vamos a hacer en 2 canales, uno en inglés y uno en español. Ahora le voy a pedir, si me puede decir qué tipo de teléfono usa. ¿Está usando teléfono?
Sí, estoy usando un smartphone.
Muy
Samsung.
bien. Muy bien. Sí. ¿Ha usado Zoom ya antes? Sí conoce el programa de Zoom.
No lo he usado antes.
Ok, le voy a tratar de guiar. Mire, si se fija en la parte alta de la pantalla donde están unos 3 puntitos y dice más o dice more, si tiene su teléfono en inglés. ¿Sí lo puede ver? Toque la pantalla para que salgan los controles.
Ok.
Sí puede ver ahí donde está eso. Ahí va a seleccionarlo. Antes de que seleccione, mire, déjeme le digo qué es lo que va a suceder. Va a seleccionar donde dice language. ¿Tiene su teléfono en inglés o en español? Primero que nada.
Me parece que está en inglés.
En inglés va a decir language interpretation. Ahí donde va a seleccionar los 3 puntitos, seleccione language interpretation y luego seleccione español. ¿Ok?
Ok, dice chat, view full transcript, meeting, sitting y disconnect audio.
En esa parte no, en la parte del teléfono, donde, bueno, si toca la pantalla no salen esos, a mero abajo no salen esos 3 puntitos, enseguida de la palabra more.
Sí, ahí donde está la palabra more, solamente sale chat.
Sí, permítame tantito. If we can activate it, that way she can see it, and hopefully it'll work.
So let's start the interpretation. There it is.
English and Spanish language available, dice.
You need to go to Spanish. Okay.
¿Le pongo Spanish?
Yes, ma'am.
Ok. Ok, ya.
Do you hear me, ma'am? Hello.
Sí, lo escucho.
You need to you have to pick Spanish.
¿Está bien?
No, the Spanish channel isn't hearing you. There's 2 channels. So it says English, Spanish, you need to pick Spanish.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know, Judge, what do you want to do?
So this seems to be very, very complicated. And I don't even know as we go through the plea if we're going to be able to handle it in a way where I can be doing the plea with Mr. Stevens and Ms. King and Mr. Calderon and have Mr. Cifuentes and Ms. Kendrick independently operating on a translation or interpretation in the background. I haven't confronted this before, and I feel like I'm a little not well educated on the technical issues with the interpretation function. I would recommend next time to the DA's office that if you would provide, possibly have your complainant in office, possibly with an interpreter, maybe even Mr. Cifuentes could have been available to your office, that would work. For now, I don't have a problem with her being here. Obviously, it's her right to be here. And we'll see how we go on the actual victim impact statement, how we can do that. For now, I'm going to start the plea. And I don't know how we're going to be able to set it up to have that work. But we're going to go ahead and start the plea. Okay, so we can go ahead and eliminate the interpreter function for now, Mr. Cifuentes. I think I'm going to give it one earnest try once we get to the victim impact statement. And if we can't do it, so be it.
Yes, it would have worked. I mean, we would be on 2 different channels. We would not be interrupting or talking at the same time because, well, I would be talking at the same time, but you would not be able to hear me if we had 2 different channels. But it seems that it got more complex than I thought it would be.
Okay, I'm going to, I hesitate, but I'm gonna have to mute her for the plea. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started with our plea.
In cause number 2019-0D0-3942 and 2019-0D0-3351 and 2020-0D0-0574, State of Texas versus Carlos Calderon. Announcement for the council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Brent Stevens for Mr. Calderon. We're ready, Your Honor.
And Mr. Stevens, do you see your client appearing from the jail annex?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Calderon, this is Judge Perez. I'm going to be asking you questions regarding your pleas in each of these cases. So I need to swear you in. Would you raise your right hand, please? Sir, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth?
Yes, ma'am.
You can put your hand down, sir. Would you state your name for the record?
Carlos Calderon.
Mr. Calderon, I'm going to be asking you questions primarily about documents you may have reviewed with your attorney. Again, one set for each of these cases. The first of which is marked as State's Exhibit number 1. Those are the plea papers in each of these cases. Within that document, you're guaranteed certain rights, including the right to remain silent, the right to trial by jury, the right to counsel, the right to confront and cross-examine witnesses, and the right to call witnesses on your behalf and in your defense. Mr. Calderon, do you recall reviewing State's Exhibit number 1 in each of these cases with your attorney and signing those documents?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand everything contained within those documents?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Stevens, have you had more than 10 days to prepare defenses in each of these cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you explain the plea papers to your client?
I did, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has understood the admonishments, rights, and consequences of giving up these rights by entering pleas today?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Calderon, are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Stevens, do you have any reason to believe that your client is presently not competent to enter his pleas?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Calderon, have you ever been found incompetent by any court?
Just once in work court.
Mr. Stevens, was there a previous finding of incompetency on Mr. Calderon in this court?
No, Judge. I believe.
I'm sorry.
Hold on, Mr. Calderon. Let me hear from your attorney real quick, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Mr. Stevens.
I do not believe he's ever been found to be mentally incompetent to stand trial. Carlos, if I'm incorrect about that, please let me know.
Okay, Mr. Calderon, have you ever been found incompetent by any court?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you were mentioning something and I stopped you. Was there something you wanted to tell me about any type of mental health evaluation or anything that you think might affect your ability to be competent today, or have been previously determined to be incompetent? Anything you were going to tell me?
No, ma'am. I was just getting confused with the question. I apologize.
Okay. Have you ever been examined by a doctor or psychiatrist who has found you mentally ill?
On the outside, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if there's been a diagnosis or maybe any other condition that hasn't been diagnosed, is anything like that affecting you from understanding what is happening today?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we're set for pleas in all 3 of these cases. Have you been able to communicate with your attorney throughout the entirety of these cases?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, including your pleas today?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have any other questions for your attorney at this time?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So based on your testimony, your attorney's representations, and my observations of you, I'm going to find that you are competent to enter your pleas today. Sir, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you born?
El Paso, Texas.
Okay. So in cause number 2019-0D0-3942, the charge against you is burglary of habitation with the intent to commit another felony. To that charge, sir, what is your plea? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
In cause number 2019-0D0-3351, you were charged with the offense of aggravated robbery. To that charge, sir, what is your plea? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And in cause number 2022-0D0-0574, in count 1, you were charged with the offense of assault of a peace officer or a judge. the second-degree felony to that charge. What is your plea? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And in count 2, you're charged with the offense of harassment of a public servant. In that case, what is your plea? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Are you making each of your pleas freely and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
I will find you are making your pleas freely and voluntarily. Ms. King, would you summarize the evidence, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Were the state to proceed to trial on the indictment, the state would have proven each and every element the offense charged. The first one is burglary of a habitation intent, other felony in cause number 2019-0D03942, and in cause number 2019-0D03351 of an aggravated robbery, and in cause number 2022-0D00574, count 1, harassment of public servant, and count 2 as assault peace officer or a judge beyond a reasonable doubt. Judge, the defendant is pleading to 10 years probated for 10 years of deferred adult probation for cause number 2019-0D03942 to run concurrent with cause number 2019-0D03351. And the defendant is also pleading to a 10 years probated for 10 of adult probation in cause number 2022-0D00574 in count 1 and 2. Furthermore, there is a restitution amount in 2019-0D03351 in the amount of $4,390 to the complaining witness, and other terms and conditions stated on the state's plea paperwork. And at this time, the state moves to admit Exhibit 1 is the state plea paperwork, Exhibit 2 is Article 3914 disclosures, and Exhibit 3 is the indictments.
So let me go back. As to the exhibits 1, 2, and 3, Mr. Stevens, in each case, is there any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, states 1, 2, and 3 are admitted in each case. Now, going back to the plea agreement, my understanding is as to cause numbers 29, both 2019 cause numbers, those are going to be 10 years deferred adjudication. And then in 2022, it is 10 years confinement suspended for 10 years of straight community supervision, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. What I do not recall, and maybe I just did not write that down, was the additional restitution. Did you all have an understanding on the restitution and cause number ending 3351?
We do, Judge.
Okay.
This was something we discussed after the signing of the plea papers. So we're going to amend the plea agreement for that cause number to include the restitution. I discussed this with Mr. Calderon, and he is in agreement with doing so.
Okay. And that is to the complainant in cause number ending 3351, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All righty. So with all of that clarification, Mr. Stevens, that's your understanding of the plea agreement.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Calderon, is that your understanding as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Understand that the plea agreement is not binding on the court. However, if I were to reject it, I would allow you to withdraw your pleas. If I follow the plea agreement, you may not appeal these cases except on matters raised by written motion and ruled on before trial or by permission of the court. The next document I'm going to ask you about, again, one for each case, is the trial court certification of your right to appeal. There's a one-page document that explains your appeal rights. Because these are plea bargained or negotiated cases, you do not have an automatic right of appeal. Mr. Calderon, do you recall reviewing the trial court certification with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, as to cause numbers, both 2019 cause numbers, I need to ask you about an additional document. That is the motion for deferred adjudication. Mr. Calderon, do you recall reviewing and signing the motion for deferred adjudication in those two cases?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Stevens, have you explained to your client both the benefits and detriments of deferred adjudication?
I did, Your Honor.
Mr. Calderon, do you understand that if you violate a condition of deferred adjudication, the court can proceed to sentence you up to the full range of punishment for each of the offenses in those two 2019 cases? Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you asking the court to grant you deferred adjudication?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. As to cause numbers 2019-0D03942 and 2019-0D03351, I will find there is sufficient evidence to substantiate findings of guilt. However, I will not enter findings of guilt at this time. Instead, I will defer further proceedings and place you on community supervision pursuant to the plea agreement for a period of 10 years. There will be, I saw there were differing fines on each of those two cases. For my purposes, there's going to be a $4,000 fine in each of those cases. I'm going to probate the entirety of the fine on both cases due to indigency, 200 hours of community service, TAP screening, urine and breath analysis, curfew, court costs, drug counseling, MHI screening, no contact with the complainants, anger management, obviously no contact with the complainants in either case. As to cause number 3351, there is restitution in the amount of $4,390 owed to the complainant, and cause number ending 3351 will have a deadly weapon finding. Now, in cause number 2022 0D00574, on your pleas of guilty and the evidence introduced, I will accept your pleas and at this time find the evidence substantiates your guilt. In this cause number as to count 1, I will find you guilty of the offense of assault of a peace officer or judge. And in count 2, find you guilty of harassment of a public servant. And here I will also sentence you according to the plea agreement at 10 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division that will be suspended for a period of 10 years of community supervision. I believe the terms and conditions, with the exception of the restitution, will mirror. So anger management, drug counseling, all of those things. These 3 cases will run concurrent with one another. Is there anything further, Ms. King or Mr. Stevens?
Nothing further from the defense.
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Okay, so now we'll go ahead and get off the record so we can proceed with the victim impact statement. And Mr. Cifuentes, I guess we can try this again with Ms. Kendrick.
Just a quick question, Your Honor. Just so, does Mr. Calderon speak Spanish?
Mr. Calderon.
Señor Calderon, ¿habla español usted?
Yes, I do speak Spanish.
Okay.
And that was my question, that if it's going to be off the record and it's going to be directed at him and he speaks
Correct.
the language.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Mr. Cifuentes. Ms. Kendrick, if you could, well, Señora Kendrick, I can't say it, Mr. Cifuentes.
Okay.
If you'll tell her to unmute.
Señora Kendrick, su micrófono está cerrado, está apagado. ¿Lo puede activar, por favor? Para poderle escuchar yo a usted.
Ok, ahí está.
Así es, sí, ya la podemos oír.
If you will just let her know that she can proceed in Spanish with her statement to Mr. Calderon.
Señora, ya estamos en el momento de este proceso en el que usted ya puede participar y usted ya puede empezar con su expresión, su declaración, lo que nos iba a decir. Ya lo puede empezar a decir en español, señora, si usted gusta. Sí, ya está lista.
Ok, no, sí, pues yo solo lo que pido es que no se me acerque para nada, porque yo tengo mucho miedo. No sé, desde que pasó lo que pasó con él, mi vida ha cambiado mucho. Duré casi 1 año y medio sin querer salir de la casa. Y ahora que sé que él va a estar afuera, pues otra vez, es como si voy a empezar a vivir la pesadilla otra vez. Aparte de todo el daño material que me hizo, pues me hizo mucho daño, pues, en mi persona.
Ms. Kendrick, if you'll let her know if she has something else.
¿Tiene, no sé si ya terminó, señora, ¿tiene usted algo más que decirnos o qué decirle?
Él estaba escuchando y él me está mirando.
Así es.
No, pues yo también lo que quiero es saber de los cargos, ¿verdad? De lo que se va a hacer y que no se me acerque para nada, por favor.
Okay.
¿Algo más que agregar, señora?
Yo creo que por lo pronto es todo. Y que pues yo lo perdono a él. Yo lo perdono porque estaba mal, pero yo ya lo perdoné.
Muy bien. O sea, él la está escuchando. Si quería usted dirigirse a él directamente, usted puede hacerlo, pero ¿tiene algo más que agregar?
No, es todo.
Tell her thank you very much. Gracias, señora Kendrick.
Okay. Muchas gracias, señora Kenneth, por su participación.
So I very quickly want to get back on the record. And thank you, Mr. Cifuentes. Do we need the interpreter for anything else?
No one else has indicated that they need an interpreter, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Cifuentes. Thank you for the assist as well.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, let me get back on the record in cause number 2022-0D00574, 2019-0D03351, and 2019-0D03942. Ms. King, Ms. Kendrick was the complainant in which case? The 2019, which one?
2019. That ends in 3351.
Okay, and were the terms of his plea fully discussed with Ms. Kendrick?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I know we had a language barrier there, but the orders are there on the terms of probation for you not to have any contact whatsoever with any of the complainants, Mr. Calderon. And so I wasn't very good at speaking Spanish right now, but I understand it very well. And she does seem to have some concerns. So I just want to make sure that the DA's office has briefed her fully on today's proceedings. Mr. Calderon, you have some things to do while you're on probation. I'm going to be keeping a very close eye. Just do what you're supposed to be doing. Utilize the resources that you have through probation to get your life straight. I hope you take to heart what you have heard today and realize the consequences of what has happened in your past and don't return there. If you do, you're going to come before this court again. You understand me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Mr. Calderon, good luck to you.
Judge, may I, could we clarify something before we end?
Sure.
Just for the purposes of the probation, so there won't be any confusion.
Mhm.
So Miss Kendrick lives close to Mr. Calderon's grandfather and where his mother lives, across an alley, I believe. I think they're separated by an alley. My understanding is her yard has like a chain link fence, and then his may have a rock wall, but it's across the alley either way. And so my client's going to be living somewhere else, not at his grandfather's residence. So is he allowed to go to his grandfather's house as long as he has no contact with Miss Kendrick?
I don't have anything in terms of a restriction. In fact, I think the plea papers, Carla's just sending me this right now, says no offensive contact with the complainant, and that's on the 2022 case. I'm more concerned, I don't know about, I gotta think they're officers. Is that what it is on the 2022 case? Yeah. So yes. I'm more concerned about the, I'm not more concerned, but I mean, based on what you're telling me, it's just no contact. I'm not putting a distance requirement. What I would urge you, Mr. Calderon, I mean, I know there are certain life circumstances that may be unavoidable, but simple as this. If you all are in eye shot of one another, literally go inside, go away. I don't want any misunderstandings, okay? Because here's the thing. No one else is under the court's scrutiny except for you, okay? So don't be in a situation where we have complaints, and it happens, okay? Don't think because, this case now falls under probation that we don't have reports back to the court. We get reports all the time on probationers with people complaining about misbehavior, violating condition. It just isn't your probation officer, okay? So avoid any potential. To answer your question, Mr. Stevens, no, I'm not including any kind of distance. It wasn't requested and I'm not gonna include that.
Okay.
But, you know, if while they're, you know, in close proximity, meaning, you know, either at a neighboring house, there's some allegation of misconduct that violates his conditions of probation, you know, he's gonna be the one dealing with it.
Correct. Thank you, Judge, for clarifying that.
Sure, no, thank you for asking. Okay,
All right.
Your
All
Honor,
right.
I do apologize. I do apologize to the court and to Mr. Stevens about the little technical issues in the beginning.
no worries, no worries, we'll figure it out. All right, who's next? Thank you, Mr. Calderon.
Saul
Who's-
Santana on page 6, Judge.
Okay,
Annex, can we have Saul Santana?
Mr. Santana, is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's get started.
In cause number 2016 0D00317, State of Texas versus Saul Santana. Announcement for the council, please.
Joaquin for the state of Texas.
Luis Yanez on behalf of Mr. Santana, Your Honor, we're also ready.
Okay, and Mr. Santana is appearing from the jail annex. We're scheduled today. I think we originally had this set last week, did we not, Mr. Yanez? But I wanted to make sure we had Mr. Santana here. It's a motion to withdraw. Mr. Santana, you're aware that Mr. Yanez is seeking to withdraw from your case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so, Mr. Yanez, I don't remember. What is the basis? Let me see.
It's a pre-rebel, Your Honor. Mr.
Oh.
Santana has asked me to withdraw from further representing them, so I filed my motion.
Oh.
with.
Okay, so you don't want Mr. Yanez to represent you anymore, Mr. Santana?
No, Your Honor.
And you had hired him? You had previously hired him? Is that what it was?
It was appointed, Your Honor.
You were appointed?
Yes.
Oh. Well, wait a minute. Mr. Santana, what's the problem?
I just felt he didn't have my interest at best of heart. I just felt like he didn't want to fight for me.
Well, Mr. Yanez is a more than competent attorney and not known to not be a fighter. So I'm sorry if I misunderstood or maybe assumed that Mr. Yanez was retained. But, and I don't want to give you more headache, Mr. Yanez, but, you know, are you going to hire your own attorney, Mr. Santana?
I'm in the process of finding out, Your Honor.
Okay, well, I'll give you a week to figure that out. Mr. Yanez, well, no, I'm going to give you 2 weeks. I'm going to give you 2 weeks if you're going to hire an attorney. You know, court-appointed attorneys, you know, that's for your benefit. And it's not a matter of, you know, I don't like this one and I just want another one. If you're going to hire your own attorney, that's fine. But I'll let you think about that. Mr. Yanez, I'm going to leave the motion to withdraw pending. Okay, we'll come
Yes,
back
Your Honor.
in 2 weeks. If he's got an attorney, happy to let you off.
Sounds good, Your Honor. We'll continue.
Ándale, pues.
Thank
See you in
you.
2 weeks.
May I be excused, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Who's next?
On page 6, Judge, Rivera. Annex, do you have Reina Rivera, please?
Yes, she'll come right now.
So wait a minute, Mr. Rivera also, or is it a Miss Rivera? Miss Rivera? We don't have arraignment documents on Miss Rivera either. What is going on with the arraignment documents? Mr. Lozano, do you have any arraignment, a waiver of arraignment for your client?
I thought that was in, Judge, but we can get that. Let me see.
It's a 2022 case, huh? We just had the indictment on March 7th and we're at a plea. So what's this gonna be? Let me look, hold on. Oh, it's TDC? Well, I can give you 2 weeks to get some arraignment paperwork in, Mr. Lozano. I don't see any arraignment paperwork.
You might have it, Judge, because
It might be on our end, Mr. Lozano, is what the clerk is telling me. Did you ever receive it?
let me see. Oh, no,
You don't have it, huh?
I don't have a copy of it in the court's files.
Okay, so my understanding is we're looking at a time wreck anyway, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So let me see. Ms. Hernandez, it looks like we may never have sent, and I didn't realize this was such a quick turnaround. We may never have sent it to you, Mr. Lozano.
Okay.
So we need to get them the arraignment paperwork. I'll do 1 week, Mr. Lozano. Okay. We'll just get that arraignment paperwork in and we'll come back in 1 week.
Sounds good, Judge.
Ándale pues. Thank you. Ms. Rivera, we'll be back in 1 week, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. My apologies on that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Marissa, will you do me a favor? Because I know we'll lose this chat. Will you send Myrna an email with what you're telling me there?
Yes, of course, Judge.
Thank you. That's going to be tough. Wow. Okay. All right. Who's next, Mr. Marufo?
On page 6, Judge, De La Vega. Annex, can we have Henry De La Vega?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Go ahead.
In cause number 2020 0D0 It's 2022. Correction. 2022 0D0 0326 and 2020 022 correction. 2022 0D0 0351 State of Texas versus Henry De La Vega. Announcement for the council, please.
Well, King for the state of Texas.
Brent Stevens for Mr. De La Vega.
We are set for judges conferences today on both of these. Is that right? Mr. De La
Correct.
Vega is appearing from the jail annex. What's going on, Mr. Stevens?
Judge, we're still waiting on a recommendation from the state, and my client has previously had a bond hearing. However, that was denied. He also has a possible parole hold out of New Mexico. I've never been able to confirm that they do have a warrant, but it is likely.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I apologize. I have not put a recommendation right now because there's some photos that are actually uploaded to portal. I don't know if Mr. Stevens looked at them in cause number 2022 that ends in 0351. And I'm trying to see how that connects with the allegations in this case. So I've been in contact with the detective that was assigned to that case.
Okay. Well, I believe, Mr. Stevens, this is one, I'm just looking at future dates. We have our trial in August, and we do have all the settings at the jail slot, assuming your client remains in custody. Unless you request an additional hearing for whatever reason, file something and need an additional hearing, we'll see you at the next setting. It's in about less than a month. And Mr. De La Vega is indicating I'm pretty sure you don't want to talk to me. I think you want to talk to Mr. Stevens, right, Mr. De La Vega?
No, ma'am, I'd like to address the court.
Mr. Stevens, do you want to?
Sure. Well, my advice to you, Mr. De La Vega, is do not say anything.
Objection. Don't I have the right to speak?
Sir, let me tell you something. Your attorney is here to advise you, and let me tell you where the concerns will be. Is that if you start talking about any of your cases, you might think you're saying something that might not be detrimental, but there is another individual, at least one from the district attorney's office here, that is listening to everything you're saying, right? And it might not be in your interest to say anything. In fact, it might hurt you. And so my recommendation to you is to follow your attorney's advice and not speak, especially if it has to do with the substance of your case. Yes, Mr. Vega.
So I do have the right to speak on my behalf, right? Are we on record?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so I can't speak for myself, right?
You can speak for yourself.
Okay, first thing I'd like to do is object to the hearing that we had, the arraignment. Like I don't accept that arraignment at all. That wasn't an arraignment. And then the grand jurors, I like to question my accusers. So
okay, so I'm gonna stop you right there. All right. Okay, so Annex, you can go ahead and take Mr. De La Vega. Mr. Stevens, I don't know if there are some concerns here, but if there are, please let me know, because I'm not sure if this is just unruly or if it's got another cause.
I will, you know what, Judge, I haven't had any concerns previously, but I'll go visit with Mr. De La Vega again, and then I will bring his objections to the court's attention.
I would be very interested to know if there is any mental health concerns there. And if there are, if he's receiving any type of treatment there in the jail. Because I don't recall, I thought we had a bond hearing, and I don't recall him behaving like that. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yes,
I think he was a little bit better behaved, so I'm not sure what the issue is. Like I said, if we need to come back before the 19th of April, please request your hearing, okay?
Yes, Your Honor, and I always, mental health is something I look at right off the bat, so I'll double check on that again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'll ask Annex. I'm sorry, Annex, I muted you, so feel free to unmute when you're ready, and let's get to the next individual.
We're just coming up, Your Honor.
Sure.
Annex, we need Daniel Weiss.
Did we already lose Mr. Stevens? Yeah, okay. On those arraignment documents, maybe we shoot Mr. Stevens an email. There might be some issues on those arraignment documents. All right, okay. All right, go ahead.
And cause number 2019-0D04292, State of Texas versus Daniel Weiss. Announcement of counsel, please.
Roa King and co-counsel Renee Flores for the state, Your Honor.
Hi, Judge. Veronica Lerma on behalf of Mr. Weiss.
Okay, I thought I had seen no more Mr. Lerma. Okay, he was here earlier, but I know we've taken a minute.
Yes, Judge, he was here earlier, but he had to step away. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And I'm just pulling your case up. I want to make sure we got the transporter back. Right. Okay. So we're here for a status hearing. We got our transfer back on the 17th. All right. So how about a status, folks?
Well, Judge, based on our last in-person hearing, the court wanted to know what motions needed to be moved forward. And I think it would probably be best to go ahead and set a motions hearing. There are some motions that were filed by previous counsel that I think Ms. King and ADA Flores and I may be able to agree to, but the ones that do need to be heard are the suppression motions, the limine, and the Dauber hearing. The motions for production, motions to disclose expert, I think we may be able to discuss those and come up with an agreement, or at least make those would be pretty quick in a motions hearing. But the longer ones would be those motions.
Okay. Let me get to a calendar.
And there are a couple that are moot, Judge, which I can indicate to the court once we're in a hearing.
Okay. So I'll go with the ones that we know we need to hear. And I think what we had been doing before we hit the competency issue was kind of reserving that Thursday, Friday slot. So let me look, because I know we hit, well, let me see. How quickly are you all ready to do them?
Your Honor, ready.
Well, I guess I'm going to need to know, for example, like on your, you say, I know you're ready, but I want to know, like on the suppression, if we were to do it this Friday, are your witnesses available? Because
Yes.
I think that's where we were last time, right? We were on the suppression on the statement, right? Was it on the statement?
I believe so, Your Honor. But the state witnesses are available for this Friday.
Okay. And I'm just going to be repetitive because my head is turning too much after all these neat little events today. Was it Detective Camacho, or who was the detective or the detectives?
Your Honor, the state's Detective Camacho and I believe Officer Durantes. One second.
Does that conform with the witness list you had, Ms. Lerma? I seem to think there was one additional that you all were kind of off. Like I felt like defense had 3 and state had 2, but.
Your Honor, so the state had, I believe, 4 and the defense had 3. And the reason was we didn't know which exactly the motions that we were going to go on. So, because, there was multiple ones.
Okay. So Ms. Lerma, you heard those 2. Does that conform with the 2 witnesses? I just want to make sure we're not going to have anyone outstanding.
Yes, Judge, in terms of who took his statements, I believe that was Detective Camacho. And the only other thing would be the Dauber hearing regarding the autopsy. So I don't know if the court wants to conduct that on Friday as well.
Who are we going to need for that?
The medical examiner.
Yeah, that's going to be a little, I don't think we're going to be able to, well, I don't know, maybe, maybe you all can work some magic. I don't think that's going to be doable, but I'm open to it. I'm open to it if you all can be ready for it. And the only reason I say that, I don't want to seem unrealistic or crazy, but it's an open day and I always try and take advantage of that. Otherwise, we're probably looking at going into, well, we could probably do March 30th. Oh, March 30th looks really good, actually. My civil docket is really, really light that day.
And Judge, that would be a better day. It would require me to file less motions to continue on Friday for some family hearings that I have. But I'm certainly able to do that for the court, whichever day is available.
How about you all, Ms. King?
Your Honor, whatever works with the court, the sooner the better.
Okay. And of course we can handle limine. Well, find out about your witness on the Dauber hearing, but I'll set them. We'll set them for Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll set them for Wednesday and we can do it at 9 o'clock. I've got a couple of civil things, but we can zoom those out pretty quick and go from there. Now, what we also left pending, and I know you all were speaking informally, but I don't know. We still haven't set a trial. I don't know about jumping the gun on that though, depending on what we have going on.
Your Honor, the last time we had a person hearing, we did confer, and I believe Veronica Lerma actually suggested April 7th and 8th.
Are you all in agreement on that?
Judge, when, yeah, I mean, we'll be available. That was the date that we were working towards. I believe that the DA was going to speak with their police officers to see if they would all be available. You know, but
Let's still go with that kind of as the target. I don't want to set it yet though, but that's kind of, I have it as, that's my Weiss trial date, although it hasn't been set because we kind of stopped. I will tell you this, I intend to formalize the trial date as best as we can, if we're in a position to do so on the March 30th date, okay?
And Judge, will the court want to hear all the, will the court want to hear the motion in limine on that day as well? Or
as long as it's ready to go, why not?
Okay.
I think we should, we should. So yeah, I think we'll have time to do it. Let's go ahead and knock everything out while we have everybody here.
Okay, sounds good, Judge.
So Mr. Marufo, we're gonna have to put in a request for Mr. Weiss on March 30th as well to be here. I would say 8:30, so we can start promptly at 9. However the jail does it to get them here in the morning.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. What else?
That's all I have, Judge.
Your Honor, if I may, I did see an email that there is a medical, an in-person medical evaluation to be conducted tomorrow at 2 p.m.
So I believed if Ms. Lerma had requested, I think I can remember, I don't know if you requested even last week, Ms. Lerma, but I know we were supposed to be in trial last week. And that didn't happen. So that's why we did not accommodate bringing over your client last week. But I was then asked if we could have him come over on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. So that's the purpose of that. We're bringing Mr. Weiss over tomorrow. I understand you have your own, is it Dr. Schutte or?
Yes, Judge. We'll be examining him. And I will be there so that I can make the introduction, but thank you for letting us use your jury room.
Sure, sure.
And Your Honor, the state is kind of puzzled of what this evaluation is, because my understanding, this is the second time he was actually screened for competency, and he was just recently transferred. The state was not aware of this spontaneous medical review. And as a matter of fact, the state did suggest Dr. Cynthia Rivera to do the competency in the second and last competency test. So
had you formalized the request, Ms. Lerma?
Yes, Judge, this is our own expert speaking with him. It has nothing to do with the state, and the state doesn't need to provide any information regarding that.
Right. So, you know, they are having their own doctor speak with their client.
okay, just trying to clarify. It was just caught off guard.
Okay. So that'll put us, so a week from then, well, I'll leave that. So you all will be here tomorrow afternoon, and then please, if there are any issues with scheduling, honestly, the sooner the better, because we do have limited days. We're coming up on a holiday as well that kind of interrupts our week on that week. So it just, you know how things go, guys. It's hard to schedule stuff. So we'll see you all on this one. If we don't, I imagine we probably have him scheduled the Tuesday before as well, right? Because I think we've had him, or do we not have him anymore every Tuesday?
Your Honor, I only see today's hearing.
Yeah, I don't see another one. I don't think I need to bring you all in since you're going to be here Wednesday. I was kind of thinking I'd bring you all in just to see if we have some major hiccups, but I'll wait for hiccups till the day of. How about that?
Okay, Judge.
I'll see you all Wednesday on the 30th. Okay, anything else?
Nothing further, Judge.
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Flores, you're just kind of smirking over there, but you're all right? Okay, all right. then
I'm
we're good to
fine, Your
go.
Honor.
Okay,
I'm just trying to type away, making sure we
Okay.
have everything for this
Okay.
upcoming trial.
Again, when it comes to the scheduling, stuff does come up and, surprises happen. What I would encourage you all to do is if something happens and we know a witness is not available or something, do a chain email with everybody on the email. That works best. We can act more quickly that way. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge.